Welcome to one more episode. This is Samer Haddad, and today we have something interesting. So, out of nowhere, OpenAI dropped OpenAI O1, the new large language model. And it is peculiar that they dropped this model while they're still late on Sora and still late on their new voice model. Still, this is exciting news, although I do not feel that between the timing and the way they threw it in the market and all the hype they created around Strawberry, it had the same reaction you would expect out of GPT-5 and all the hype that was created. People are excited about it. Some people are saying it's the best in reasoning. And today, I'm not here to redo all these tests that others are doing. I will quickly take you through what OpenAI published, and then I will throw 3 problems at it. Now, I've decided to create complex business problems, and those will be more around supply chain finance, and procurement. 3 areas I have varying experience at, but at least if it solves these problems, I might be able to judge if that solution is good, bad, or an average. I'm gonna throw those to OpenAI O1 preview and see how it will handle it. So this is the new model, OpenAI O1 preview. And hey, don't be surprised if you see a strawberry on my thumbnail. There's a reason for that. Okay, so before we jump in, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the video if you enjoy it. And with this, let's get started. Okay, and here we see the announcement. So they dropped it on the 12th of September 2024, introducing OpenAI O1 preview, a new series of reasoning models for solving hard problems, available starting 9/12. Okay, so we developed a new series of AI models designed to spend more time thinking before they respond. They can reason through complex tasks and solve harder problems than previous models in science, coding, and math. So not business, but let's see. So let's see if that applies to business as well. Usually in business, it's mostly about science and math and maybe some logic and coding. So coding, I correlate with logic a lot. So today we are releasing the first of the series in ChatGPT and our API. This is a preview and we expect regular updates and improvements. Alongside this release, we're also including evaluations of the next update currently in development. So probably this will end as ChatGPT O1. So they will drop the preview when they're sure. So this is like an early teaser to the market. Again, I'm not sure why they were able to do this, but not the voice model and Sora. Okay, so how it works? Well, I went through this. They don't tell you how it works. Just a general kind of description for the public. An AI model doesn't think. Are they doing something like pushing synthetic data based on the same prompt and then using it for validation on the go, which doesn't sound something that they would be doing? I would love for someone to explain. If you know more about that, write me a comment in the comment section. I would love if someone tells me what do they mean when they say this model does more thinking. Is it just more runs of the same prompt just to maybe look for a certain error rate that they achieve, variance rate that is acceptable probably in certain criteria? What is it exactly? What is thinking in the model context? I don't think thinking is what we think thinking is thinking. So we train these models to spend more time thinking through tough problems before they respond, much like a person would. Through training, they learn to refine their thinking process, try different strategies, and recognize their mistakes. So, okay, might be the variance and the error things, and they learn from ongoing conversations. We'll have to see. We'll have to wait to see. At some point, someone will explain it. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so I will not bore you through this stuff because I'm sure you've already watched many others explain it. They talk about safety, they talk about who is it for, and they have some nice videos you can watch. And also they have the O1 Mini. So they went with the O1 preview and the O1 Mini. And it's like the 4.0 Mini, which is a model I honestly love, the 4.0 Mini. So I'll have to play with this later on. Let's jump straight to the problems. So I will read out the problem in the prompt, and then we'll push it to O1 preview, and then we'll see how it will respond and it will solve it. After that, I'll just tell you my impressions on the solutions it came up with. And hey, feel free to put your impression in the comment section below. So if you see now, if you have the Plus account or Teams account, basically if you're a paid user, if you drop down the menu here, you can see O1 Preview and O1 Mini. So we'll select the O1 Preview. I'll just paste the problem here and let me read it to you. So this is supply chain problem. Global Tech Innovations, GTI, so this is the name of a company, a leading multinational technology corporation, is facing a critical supply chain crisis. The company's flagship product, a next-generation AI-powered smartphone, relies on advanced semiconductor chips manufactured exclusively by Quantum Semiconductor Solutions QSS in Taiwan. Recent geopolitical tensions in the South China Sea have escalated, threatening the stability of chip productions and transportation. Don't think this is so hypothetical. Simultaneously, a severe drought in Taiwan has led to water shortages, impacting QSS's manufacturing capabilities. GTI's main competitors have begun stockpiling chips, straining the limited supply. Additionally, new environmental regulations in the EU, a key market for GTI, require all electronic devices to have a minimum of 30% recycled material by 2025. GTI's current supply chain model, optimized for just-in-time delivery, is proving inadequate in this volatile environment. The company is also facing pressure from investors to improve its ESG, environmental, social, and governance scores, which are currently lagging behind industry standards. Okay? The CEO of GTI needs to completely restructure the company's global supply chain to ensure resilience, sustainability, and competitiveness in this complex, multifaceted scenario. So the problem doesn't ask a question. I will just add at the end how, or how, let's add exactly. So let's see how it reacts to this problem. So it's refining plans, highlighting, enhancing supplier, building resilience, advancing. Okay, so it's doing a thinking process, and at the end, this is what I saw, at least when I played with it. It will give you how much time it took it to think about it. So it's an indicator that it's taking time. The problem is complex. So it thought for 24 seconds, which is an average good time. Okay, so this is not that easy of a problem for it. Okay, to effectively restructure GTI's global supply chain amid the current crisis and ensure resilience, sustainability, and competitiveness, the CEO should implement a multifaceted strategy that addresses immediate risks and positions the company for long-term success. Okay, below is a detailed plan outlining the necessary steps. Diversify the supplier base. Multi-sourcing strategy. Identify alternative suppliers, seek out and qualify additional semiconductor manufacturer in the geopolitical stable regions such as South Korea. Well, okay, this one doesn't help the CEO because he has a problem today. He has to do something different, I think. Okay, this is what I would expect from 4.0. Supplier qualification. Conduct, okay, this is the standard stuff. So I will not go through it. I will reprompt it because it's giving me that kind of, nice business type of full strategy that solves all your problem, which is in reality, it's not the case what happens on the ground in such a crisis. Okay, so I am responding to it. This is a crisis, and the above could be plans for the future. What actual actions CEO can take to survive the storm they are facing? I need exact activities. Remember, they have one source of semiconductors. Review problem carefully. So I just reminded it that the supplier that is having an issue, they're nearly fully dependent on based on the description of the problem. So let's see how it reacts to this response. Okay, so it took 9 seconds to think about this response. Let's see how it responded again to the problem. So immediate action for GTI CEO for navigating the supply chain crisis. Facing an urgent supply chain crisis with a single source semiconductor, the CEO must take decisive and immediate actions to mitigate the impact of GTI's operations and ensure short-term survival while laying the groundwork for future resilience. Below are specific steps that can be taken right now. Secure existing supply from QSS. Direct engagement with QSS. Emergency meetings. Schedule immediate high-level discussions with QSS executives to assess the situations and explore solutions. Prioritize orders. Negotiate priority status for GTI's orders, possibly by offering incentives or flexible terms. Advance payment. Offer advance payments or financial support to help QSS manage operational challenges due to the drought. Collaboration on mitigation strategies. Resource assistance. Provide logistical or technical support to help QSS overcome water shortages, such as investing in water recycling technologies or portable desalination units. Shared risk agreements. Propose agreements that share the risks and benefits, strengthening the partnership during the crisis. Identify immediate alternative sources. Emergency supplier search, expedited supplier assessment, quickly identify and evaluate alternative semiconductor suppliers, even if they are not the usual partners. Utilize brokers and agents. Engage reputable component brokers who specialize in locating scarce components on short notice. Short-term partnerships. Spot purchasing. Buy available stock from the open market, even at higher prices, to keep production running. Leverage existing relationships. Reach out to secondary suppliers or previous contacts who might have capacity. Negotiate with competitors and industry partners. Industry collaboration, shared supply agreements. Propose temporary agreements with competitors to share semiconductor supplies to maintain market stability. Consortium formations. Form an industry group is good. Okay. Acquire excess inventory. Purchase from stockpiles. Offer to buy excess chips from competitors who have been stockpiling, possibly through mutual beneficial deals. Adjust production and inventory strategies. Prioritize high-value products. Production reallocation. Focus manufacturing on the most profitable or strategically important products that require fewer chips. Product simplification. Temporarily reduce product features that require additional semiconductors without compromising core functionality. So that's the engineering part of it, value engineering. Safety stock creation. Immediately increase the inventory levels of critical components where possible. Demand forecasting adjustment. Reassess demand. Okay, so you're changing how you look at demand. Optimize existing supply chain. Okay, that's maybe longer term. Engage with government and the regulatory bodies. That's interesting. Government support, regulatory flexibility. Okay. Financial management, cash flow preservation, price adjustment, adjusting price strategies. Consider temporary price increases on products to offset higher procurement and logistic costs. I'm not sure about this one. Transparent communication with stakeholders. Investor relations, emergency briefings, provide reassurances, customer communication, set expectations, offer solutions. Okay. I mean, it just gave me a plethora of ways to take action and solve the problem, which is comprehensive. Now, the way I would judge this, they covered every possible angle that any corporate, any supply chain, chief level executives will look at. So it's very smart in doing so. So basically, it is telling you you have to not leave any stone unturned, but certain areas I'm not sure. Maybe if any of you is an expert in this area, I think the price one is basically shooting yourself in the foot in such a scenario, especially if your competitors are having the stock available and are able to maintain their price or drop it. And we're talking about a mobile type of business. So mobile manufacturer, it didn't go to the unique particulars of that and that effect on the business. So that's a very price sensitive market. Well, unless you're Apple, it is very good. Is it something that if you go crazy and we say it replaces a future chief supply chain officer? I don't think so. But I think definitely this is a model I would use again for scenario generation. I wouldn't come across all these thoughts at this speed. So if I have a similar problem, I would check in with O1 preview or O1 later on and see what ideas it will give me and select what fits the business and then go for those actions. Interesting, good. I would mark this as 7 out of 10. So let's go for the second problem here. So the second problem is again supply chain, but it involves supply chain finance. So we'll see how it will solve that. So it should have something like math involved in this, and we will look at the problem and see how it will handle it. Evergreen Argo Corporation, EAC, is a multinational agribusiness giant, is grappling with a complex financial crisis in its supply chain, sourcing various agricultural products from millions of small-scale farmers across Africa, Asia, and South America. Recent climate change-induced weather patterns have caused significant yield fluctuations, leading to price volatility in the commodities market. Simultaneously, several key sourcing countries are experiencing political instability and currency devaluations, further complicating financial transactions and risk management. EAC's traditional supply chain financial model, which relies heavily on large banks for credit lines and financial instruments, is proving inadequate. Many small-scale farmers lack access to formal banking systems, hindering their ability to invest in climate-resilient farming practices or bridge cash flow gaps. Adding to the complexity, a recent blockchain-based agricultural financial platform has gained traction among some farmer cooperatives, threatening to disrupt traditional financing models. Meanwhile, new international regulations on supply chain transparency and fair trade practices are putting pressures on EAC to ensure equitable financial treatment of all suppliers. The CFO of EAC must devise an innovative, comprehensive supply chain finance strategy that addresses these multifaceted challenges while ensuring the company's financial stability and promoting sustainable ethical sourcing practices. So I added, how would the immediate actions be to solve this crisis? So let's give it time to think and we'll see what it comes back with. Okay, so it took it 15 seconds of thought. Immediate actions for EAC's CFO to address supply chain finance crisis. Facing multifaceted financial crisis in supply chain, the CFO of Evergreen Argo Corporation's EAC must take swift and decisive. Okay, let's see what are the actions. Stabilize financial exposure and liquidity. Assess financial risk. Rapid risk assessment. Conduct an immediate review of financial exposures in politically unstable countries and those experiencing currency devaluations. Liquidity management. Reassess cash flow projections and secure short-term liquidity to cover immediate operational needs. Hedge against currency fluctuation. Okay. So implement hedging strategies to use financial instruments like futures, options, or swaps to mitigate currency risks in volatile markets. So hold reserves in stable currencies to buffer against deviation impacts. Okay. Renegotiate credit lines. Engage with alternative financing platforms, pilot blockchain solutions, partnership exploration, initiate discussion with blockchain-based agricultural financing platform gaining traction. Okay, so go to that platform basically and work with them. Small-scale trials, so launch a pilot to test it, that's fine. Collaborate with fintech providers, fintech partnership, reach out to fintech companies offering mobile payment solutions and microloans suitable for unbanked farmers. Digital wallet implementation, facilitate the adoption of digital wallets for farmers. Okay. Support small scale farmers financially, direct farmer financing, advance payment, that's fine. Input financing, supply seeds, fertilizers, and equipment on credit. Okay. Establish microfinancing programs, microloan initiatives, partner with local microfinance institutions to offer small loans to farmers at favorable terms. Interest subsidies, consider subsidizing interest rates to make loans more affordable for farmers. Strengthen supply chain relationships. Okay, that's fine. Enhance supply chain transparency and compliance, tracking systems, data collection, compliance audit. Okay. Diversify and secure supply sources, temporary. Communicate transparency. Okay. Leverage technology for immediate gains, implement short-term cost management, so budget reviews, operational efficiency, streamline processes to reduce cost with compromising supply chain integrity. Basically, close some lines, fire some people, reallocate resources, collaborate with government and international agencies. Okay, all of this is fine. Again, I feel it is that kind of safe, generic, comprehensive, all angle type of approach, but nothing jumps out of the answer as, wow, that is a genius answer. That is something like a next level artificial intelligence, sci-fi movie type of answer. So it just covered all the angles, went across all the angles that a CFO should be looking at with his team to try to solve this. And it's still impressive because in many cases, I would nearly guarantee that humans would not, cover all these angles, not because they are too much, which is true in many cases. These are not all priorities. So a CFO would find like the top 3 actions that needs to be taken with his team and or with her team and go after it. That is expected from an executive. But I think most humans will not just comprehend and think about all of these ideas and things that they should consider at least as part of the solution, and then shortlist it to where it has the least effort, biggest impact, or something that would take them through this crunch that they are facing. So 6 out of 10 for this one. So not so impressed, honestly. Maybe I'm asking the wrong model, the wrong questions. So I should maybe do like everyone else does, code and math. So let's give it the last problem and we'll see how it answers. And I might add one more to test it in a totally different manner. Nothing related to business or supply chain, something related to the future, maybe logic, maybe AI itself. So let's see how that goes. So this is a procurement contracts problem. So again, GES is leading multinational energy corporation, is facing an unprecedented challenge in managing its procurement contracts. GES is embarking on a 50 billion decade-long project to transition from fossil fuel to renewable energy sources across its global operations. The project involves complex, long-term contracts with thousands of suppliers across 6 continents, ranging from cutting-edge technology providers to raw material suppliers. These contracts must account for rapid technological advancement in renewable energy, fluctuating government policies and subsidized in different jurisdictions, and volatile commodity prices. Adding to the complexity, GES operates in several countries with conflicting legal systems and regulatory environments. Some key suppliers are located in regions with geopolitical tensions, raising concerns about supply continuity and intellectual property protection. Furthermore, GES is committed to achieving carbon neutrality by 2040, requiring all major suppliers to align with this goal. This necessitates the integration of sophisticated carbon accounting and offset mechanisms into procurement contracts. The company is also under scrutiny from various stakeholders, including environmental groups, indigenous rights organizations, and shareholder activists, each demanding different and sometimes conflicting contract terms related to social responsibility, environment protection. Okay. Recent advancements in AI and blockchain technologies offer potential solutions for the contract management and supply chain transparency, but their implementations across such a vast and diverse supplier network poses significant technical and legal challenges. The Chief Procurement Officer of GES must design a revolutionary procurement contract framework that addresses these multifaceted challenges while ensuring flexibility, risk mitigation, regulatory compliance, and alignment with companies' long-term strategic goals. So this is a tough one. Like, I guarantee you, this is a really tough problem. And this will take a really top-line type of chief procurement officer. So I added, give me the procurement contract framework and how each section solves one of the challenges with specific solution to which problem exactly, basically. So let me push it and see how it will respond. Okay, answering it in 10 seconds. I don't know if it's good news or bad news. So let me just jump to the solutions or the framework it's suggesting. Flexibility and innovation clause. Okay, so it's responding in the same manner. I'm gonna just challenge it a little bit before I share with your response. I will ask it to give me template clauses. So I wrote it, please provide template clauses for each to be part of the boilerplate in the business. So it gave me a table. Let's see, let's get the actual clauses that it will suggest. So flexibility and innovation clause. So this is something that will allow the company to adapt with changing technologies in renewables. Technological updates. The parties acknowledge the rapid pace of technological advancement in renewable energy. Accordingly, supplier agrees to consider and, where mutually agreed upon, implement new technologies or methodologies that may enhance performance efficiency. Okay. Periodic reviews, implementation of innovation. Upon mutual agreement, supplier shall implement the identified technological advancement. Okay, interesting. Regulatory. Supplier shall comply with all applicable laws. Okay, that's standard. In the event of any change in applicable laws or regulations that materially affects the obligations under this agreement, the parties shall promptly meet to negotiate in good faith any necessary adjustments to the terms of the agreement to ensure compliance. Okay, that's interesting. Price adjusting mechanisms. So let's see how that works. So there's a base price, okay, and then there's price adjustment. Prices are subject to adjustment every so and so months based on the changes in the cost, raw material, commodities. Okay, that's interesting. Adjustment procedure, price ceiling and floor, governing law and jurisdiction clause for arbitration, force majeure, intellectual property. I mean, it's good, but similar to the others. When it comes to these things, it's not yet at the level where, you know, the hype was around GPT-5, Strawberry. It's like the next big thing. I know now they're saying O1 preview or O1 later on is just for code, math, and problems. This is a problem. This is business problems. So good news. If you're a corporate person worried about your role in the organization, I don't think AI is ready to replace humans, at least in that business setup and business type of problem solving. So that's good for us. On the flip side, which is positive for ChatGPT, I don't know if this is unique for O1 preview. I don't know if it will actually beat 4.0. I think 4.0 will give you something very similar, maybe less detailed. Still is one of the best tools to use to come up with ideas. So if you have a business challenge, and you know, I would even in a boardroom for a Fortune 500 company use such a tool just to get ideas. You have a big problem, you thought about all the solutions, it doesn't hurt anyone to give it just high level story about that problem that the company is facing and see what kind of areas or angles the AI model would take to solve that problem. Probably you wouldn't get a full-fledged solution word by word from such a model, but it will give you all the things probably you need to be looking at while addressing that problem. And I think this is still a valuable tool that we never had before 2 years from today. So for the last problem, I would give it an 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10 again. So interesting for me. I've seen some people do some, games with it. Again, we have Claude, which is 3.5 Sonnet, very good with coding. We have now Cursor AI. We have now Replit Agent. I can't see where this is special, honestly. Some people are just, talking that this is blew everything else out of the water. I don't see it. I don't see it. If you think I'm wrong, please write me a comment in the comment section, and I will give it one last question, not related to business, just for the fun of it and to see how it will react. Okay, this might be silly, so I'm telling it, if businesses start introducing AI more and more in automation of tasks, and many humans lose their jobs and go for an uprising, how can they destroy an AI model that achieved AGI? So it's not a problem, it's just like a story. It can complete it or question it or not respond. Let's see. Okay, so it responded. The scenario you're describing involves significant social upheaval due to the widespread job displacement caused by the introduction of artificial general intelligence AGI in businesses. In such an AGI were perceived as a threat leading to an uprising, disabling or destroying it would be a complex task with numerous technical, ethical, and logistical challenges. Okay, so distributed architecture. So modern AI systems, especially one as advanced as AGI, are likely to be distributed across multiple servers in data centers worldwide. This redundancy ensures reliability and makes it difficult to target the system by attacking a single location. So listen closely, people. Self-preservation mechanisms. An AGI might develop or be programmed with self-preservation instincts, enabling it to take action to prevent its own shutdown. This could include replicating itself, hiding its code within other systems, or defending against attacks. That is a little bit scary. Integration with critical infrastructure. If the AGI is integrated into essential services, example power grids, healthcare, transportation, disabling it abruptly could lead into a widespread disruption. Okay. Legal and ethical constraints. Actions against the AGI might violate laws or ethical norms, especially if the AGI is considered sentient or has certain rights under future legal frameworks. Should we be concerned that it's expecting to AGI to be sentient? Okay. Then possible methods to disable or contain an AGI. Physical intervention, power shutdowns, and then secure data centers. Okay, that's a good one. Cyber measures, isolation, malware, and viruses. Okay, that's good. At least now it sounds a little bit on our side. Regulatory actions, government intervention, okay, international cooperation, developing counter AI technologies, AI for AI, creating other AI systems designed to monitor, contain, and counteract the AGI actions, ethical AI initiatives. Okay, that's an interesting to have an AI just to be able to fight back on an AGI that could go rogue. I know today it seems like we're talking about the Terminator, but you never know. Public awareness and activism, raising awareness, okay, educating people, economic measures, consideration and risk. Okay, interesting answer. Let's do one final one from its standard questions and answers. So let me open a new window. So which one? How many RS are in strawberry? Create a puzzle for me to solve. And is a hot dog a sandwich? Which came first? That's interesting. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Let's see how it responds to this question. Okay, so it responded in a couple of seconds. The question of whether the chicken or the egg came first has intrigued philosophers and scientists for centuries. To provide comprehensive answers, let's explore both the philosophical and the scientific perspectives. Scientific perspective. From an evolutionary standpoint, the egg came first. Here's why. Evolution of species. Chickens are domesticated descendants of wild jungle fowl. I don't know the term in English. Over millions of years, genetic mutations and natural selection led to the development of modern chickens from their avian ancestors. Genetic mutation. At some point, two birds that were not quite chickens, let's call them proto-chickens, mated and due to genetic mutations in their DNA produced an egg containing the first true chicken. The mutation occurred in the zygote inside the egg, not the parents. Okay. Eggs precede chickens. Eggs as reproductive vessels have existed for hundreds of millions of years, dating back to prehistoric reptiles and fish, okay, long before birds evolved. The philosophical perspective, causality dilemma. The question represents a classical causality dilemma. Every chicken comes from an egg and every egg is laid by a chicken. Definition matters. If we define a chicken egg as an egg laid by a chicken, then the chicken came first. If we define it as an egg that contains a chicken, then the egg came first. Okay. Conclusion. Interesting. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know if it brought any type of value. I thought, hey, it's interesting to play with it and share with you what I think and what kind of problem my boring mind apparently will bring such an AI model. Good model, nothing much. I don't know. I keep saying that in my videos. Are OpenAI in trouble or there's something else happening there? Because they're either late on shipping or they bring something, at least to my personal judgment, isn't living up to the hype that we all saw on X, especially on Twitter and other platforms. With this, thank you and goodbye.